Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Renegade Gamer. So I looked up across the internet and I found some new information on Final Fantasy VII. So there's an article in famitsu here, and I'm going to go over it. Basically, it was an interview with Nomura. They basically just go over the bullet points of what he had to say in it. Now, yeah, this is in the latest issue of Weekly Famitsu. It's an interview with Final Fantasy VII Remake director Tetsuya Nomura. So he shares some new details about the game. The very first thing that he's going to talk about is the very last thing I'm going to talk about. I'm going to start this from the bottom and go up because, in all honesty, the bottom part I don't have as much to say as I do when we get near the top. So, okay, so he said, for the sake of level design, we're preparing a few new enemies where necessary. I'm fine with this. The original game usually had about 3, 4, 5, at most, usually new enemies. I mean, take it to Sunken Galinka, which, if I recall right, only has a total of 3 different enemies, and they're all unknowns. You know, the Shinra Tower, a lot of floors you go through, there's only like 3 different enemies. You know, the sewer section where you face the Saigon and I mean, in the sewer section you face Saigon and like I think a blob or something like that. You know, there's not a lot of it. A lot of the little areas in the game, they don't have as many enemies as you may remember. I mean, there's a lot of strange enemies in Final Fantasy VII, but a lot of the areas in general don't really have a lot. I mean, the area I'm in right now, I think there's a total of 6, maybe 7 different types, including the Chocobo and Yuffie herself. But yeah, so no big issue there, not a problem. Next thing on his list here, an item is going to be required for MP recovery. Good. When I was watching the E3 trailer, I was kind of concerned about that. I was like, are we dealing with the counting? You know, is MP regenerate on its own, or we have to use an item, or what? Well, there's our answer. We got to use an item, which is fine because that means that you have to manage your resources and everything else, which is always a key thing in an RPG. I'm fine with that. I don't mind it if we have to recover the MP with items. I would guess you also recover your MP through sleep. You know, like almost. I think almost every single. I just mastered something. You know, almost every single. I didn't master something. Final Fantasy, after you gain. You know, you gain your HP and MP back from resting in inns and stuff like that. Let's see. The next one up is each playable character has different enemy affinities. So, are we going like the Final Fantasy X route, where each of the characters works better for a certain enemy? I'm not really sure what the hell this means exactly. You know, I can kind of understand. You know, Barrett, Vincent, both being really good at attacking long-range enemies, things that are flying, maybe. Cloud maybe being able to bust into something and crack their defense. You know, Tifa may be able to knock an enemy in the air or something. That's the only things I got. I don't know what else to mean by that. Unless they're just all have, you know, that's their fighting style and that's what they work best against. Which is fine, no big deal. But it also makes me wonder, you know, is there going to be a... If that's the case, you know, can we swap characters in? Can we not? You know, is everybody going to be traveling around with us? Because I remember seeing the trailer at one point. There were four characters running around with you: Cloud, Tifa, Barrett, Aeris. Now, I don't know if that was in combat or not, but there were 4 of them running with you, which in Midgar only happens near the end of the Shinra headquarters section. And it's very briefly. Before anyway, so moving on. let's see, what's the next on this list here? Oh, yes, this one. So this one's going to piss a lot of people off. No, this one isn't. It's the next one. With the emphasis on immersion and acceleration, you can fight without stress through the use of shortcuts. When you open the command menu, time slows, and you can fight like a command battle. Okay, we basically saw this at E3. I have no issues with it. I thought the battle system looked like it worked well. You want to play like Kingdom Hearts, you use the shortcuts. If you don't, you can use the command system. You know, it looks fine. I have no issue. I take no issue with that. Perfectly acceptable. And actually, it looks really good. It's good. It's a good. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a good merger of the two systems, in my opinion. Maintaining the older system while at the same time having a nice update to it. Alright, this is the one that's going to piss a lot of people off. So, we wanted Tifa to have abs, so she has an athletic body type. The ethics department at Square Enix told us that we had to tighten her chest as not to get unnatural during all the intense action. From there, we got the black underwear and fitted tank top. Okay. Now, I've already said what I got to say about Tifa. I don't have an issue with her design. I like the design. I thought it was fine. Her breasts being nerfed, I know is a thing that's the entire internet's going nuts about, but I thought her breast size was fine. I mean, she obviously isn't running around with the size that she's got in this game that we're currently playing, but you know, she's not lacking in the breast department. So that part of the statement, I don't take issue with. I do take issue with the ethics department. I get where this is coming from. I do. I still have an issue with it. I don't like the fact that they have an ethics department that's telling them what they can do and what they can't do. Okay, that to me is just why are you there? But I get why it's there at the same time. Sony, it relates to Sony basically. All games have to send a copy basically of one of those things to Sony's new headquarters in California, and it has to be reviewed. Now I know we live in a day and age basically everybody's offended by every fucking thing out there on demand. I don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand it. It may just be I'm older. I'm from an older generation. Maybe I'm just out of touch. I don't get it. All I know is that people get offended by all kinds of crap. And this same stuff is being used in our games now. So, I mean, any kind of anime or, you know, women that are well endowed or something, you know, like that, it's being... they have to go back and they have to change things, or they have to censor them, or, you know, a lot of your, what do they call them? Oh God, what are they called? They're the, I hate to call out a developer here, like Ideal Factory games, or your kind of hentai games, or things like that. You know, showcase a lot of breasts and stuff. You know, they're having to kind of clothe up a little bit more than they did in the past. I know that some games have been released on Switch here lately that are released on PS4, and on the Switch they're uncensored. On PS4 they are censored, so it's definitely an issue here. My point is that you got this ethics board. Basically, they're telling that, you know, they gotta downgrade Tifa a little bit here. It's probably to get it through the Sony ethics board, you know, Sony's stupid fucking morale board that they got going on. But that's just theory. I will say this about Tifa. I mean, she's got the black tank top going underneath her. And anybody knows anything about the basically a black sports bra? You know, anybody knows anything about a sports bra? It pushes breasts down and keeps them in place so they don't flop out, do everything. that doesn't necessarily mean that she's cut off. I mean, she may have very big breasts. It's just that this pushed down and in to maintain her martial arts status. But then again, who knows? The bottom line for me is that I'm fine with Tifa's design. I don't see an issue with it. But I do have an issue with the ethics board thing. So anyway, moving on. Y'all can yell at me in the comments. Let's see. Aerith and Tifa are double heroines. One has a Western style look and the other has an Eastern style look. No comment there. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Yeah, I'm fine with that. It's no big deal. Alright, so moving on. I don't really have anything else to say on that. I mean, they both look fine to me. Excuse me. Let's see. There are quite a few additions to the scenario. While the main story itself hasn't changed, there are countless number of new events. Otherwise, we wouldn't have 2 Blu-ray discs. And any laughs. Now, I don't necessarily have an issue with this, except when it correlates to the very first article on this list, which we'll get to. The new additions we've seen so far, Jessie riding on the back with Cloud, you know, her giving the materia to Cloud, the one I mentioned earlier where you saw the 4 of the characters running down in a certain way, maybe in a combat sequence. I don't really have an issue with that. That's fine. That's adding to the story in some shape, form, or fashion. But when you add, you always got to be careful because you might accidentally subtract at the same time. He's like, why am I on level 2? Well, we're almost close. Why are you on level 2? Anyway, get your dolphin blow. But, yeah, I'm fine with them adding scenes that enhance the game's story, things that would make sense. I mean, you could, like, send a scene in there with Sid and Shreya, whatever her fucking name is, the woman he's living with that he almost killed in the taking off of the shuttle. I can't think of Sharia, I think. Anyway, maybe it's Shariah. I'm getting hung up. You can show more scenes of the there where basically, you know, how they're actually living their life and all that mess. So, you know, you could show more scenes in Coral, dealing with Barrett. You know, really expand more upon that. You can expand more on Nanaki and those scenes. You could see what's something that wasn't really expanded upon. How about the Temple of Ancients? You could really go into detail showing the ancients coming out. They talk about them, telling them, you know, more about the lore and stuff. And you know, that stuff enhances the story. I'm fine with. Where I have a problem is in the first section, and we'll get to that. Let's see. Oh yes, the Honeybee Inn. The Honeybee Inn cross-dressing event is still in. We've made it more modern. If we made the facility like we did in the original game, the physical unease would be staggering. So that was no good. I think you're cutting yourself a little bit too much here. Look, the original Honeybee Inn, you got 5 rooms. The top foremost room has girls in it. That basically you put makeup on Cloud's face after he spent the night there. No big deal. First room, if I recall right, has an old couple in it. That's their son basically renting a room that night. And it's kind of a sweet scene, actually. I mean, they're just sitting there, you know, just talking. They're like, well, what do we do? I don't know, you know. But, you know, that's kind of fine. Then you see the next door next to that one. It's President Shinra. He's basically in the BSDM section. It's played up for laughs. It seems like it's played up for laughs for me. But, you know, it gives you a little more insight of, you know, how screwed up this character is of Shinra and how corrupted he is, that he's got his own people working under him in this doing this kind of mess. And then you have the other two rooms. So the first room, I'm going to talk about the second room. Second room is the fucked up room. Basically, you go in there and Cloud starts having a mental breakdown as a mysterious voice starts talking to him, and he wakes up and the guy's been slapping the shit out of him. Trying to wake him up or whatever. And I think he gets lingerie out that one. And then you have the other room. The other room are basically implied that Cloud gets kind of raped by a bunch of guys in a tub, which is played for laughs. It's not to be taken seriously. The whole Honey Bean section, to be honest with you, is not really something anybody should take seriously. It's just there for levity, in my opinion. Now, like I said, we live in a day and age where everybody's offended by every fucking thing in the world. A bunch of guys in the tub and everything else implied that, I guess it doesn't fly like it did 22 years ago. But, whatever. I do think it's a little bit of taking a hammer and hitting square peg into a round hole. I really don't see the issue, but that's me. I do think that the area did need a little more levity, and that's what that was there for. But that's just me. That's how I think things. Next thing up on this list, there are quite a few dialogue options. We're going to make this so dialogue changes depending on your response. The dialogue changes depending on your response, so the sheer volume of dialogue is increased. Okay. I mean, in the original game, basically your dialogue options influenced who you're going to end up on a date with, whether it be Typha, Aerith, Yuffie, or Barrett. I mean, is it going to have any other bearing on the game? I mean, I'm fine with different conversations and everything, but, it's fine. I got no issue with this. Just curious if it's going to affect anything else. But this last thing is the thing I take the most issue with. The Watchmen of Fate, the Black Mist in the trailer, are mysterious beings that appear before the party wherever they go. I hope that even those who have played the original game will enjoy the new elements. Okay. This is where I take the most issue. Okay. When we watch the trailer, there's a scene in there where Eris is freaking out. She drops her flower basket. She runs towards Cloud. She touches Cloud, and this big giant mist of blackness comes flying around them. And they both see it, and they're both like, "What the fuck are we looking at here?" And I already made I was like, okay, is this ancients? Is this supposed to be some kind of thing for reunion? No, these things are called the Watchmen of Fate, apparently. Something that we've never heard of in the past. Now, from what I have been able to gather, this is something that was originally on the cutting room floor. But that's the only damn thing that I've been able to... that it was originally on the cutting room floor of the original game. But that's it. That's the only damn thing I've been able to pull up anywhere. I literally don't know what the fuck this thing is. So, my problem with this is that you are doing a reimagining of the original game. Okay, now, I'm fine with that, but you have to have the core story and the core characters for this game to work, alright? The core beats of this story has to still play out. You're adding a new element into the story that could potentially change everything, okay? Something called the Watchmen of Fate is not something that you should probably be adding in here, because that could significantly brings up new lore, it brings up new areas. We don't know what the fuck these things are exactly. What is the correlation? Do they have anything to do with Genova? If they do, where did they come from? You're just opening up a whole new bag of questions that you're going to have to answer. And it could greatly affect the main story in a lot of ways. Remember, Final Fantasy VII, at its heart, is a story basically about the guy you're looking here on the screen. trying to fit him back together. All the people in Final Fantasy VII are completely screwed up in your party. I mean, Tifa's screwed up, Barrett's screwed up, Cid's screwed up, Cloud is screwed up, Yuffie's screwed up. I mean, they're all screwed up in some shape, form, or fashion. Have something to them, and that's the game focuses on each one of them as it goes through. Yes, there is a correlating plot with the asteroid or meteor coming to hit the planet, but still, it's all tied up and it is focused mostly on the characters themselves. Adding a new element like this could completely change the story and the focus of what the story was. Is what I'm trying to say, and so this is something I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about if y'all going to be able to keep the core story intact with the characters. I'm concerned about this. This is something that is unknown. I'm not saying you couldn't pull it off, but this is not reassuring. I mean, if you want to add some things that were originally supposed to be in the game, that's fine, but make sure that they don't directly change what the story is in some shape or form or fashion. You want to add another boss fight that you had to cut from the game, fine, do so. You want to add, maybe a character that was, you want to expand upon Johnny, who's in the game. You want to really get that through this time. Sure, you want to expand, you want to show up a character. Let me use another one. Tifa's martial arts master Zangief. You want him to show up more often in the game. Fine. It creates more scenes. It creates more interactions with your characters versus the NPCs, and it gives you more reason to understanding, looking at things from a different point of view and things of that sort. But what y'all are doing is wanting to add more lore into the game. That could create problems. Okay, we've already had that happen in the past with Advent Children. They had a geostigma. They had the dark light, the dark light live stream, the negative live stream. That's the one I was looking for. Basically they added which I think was in On Way to the Smile. They added Genesis. They added and Jill. Yes. All this mess from the compilation that got added in. Deep. What was that terrorist group? A Deep. It was from Cerberus. And it just kind of made 7 a little bit of a mess. Now, whenever I looked at 7, I just looked at the base game and follow that story. But my point is that if you're looking at it as an aggregate, it can really screw up things. So, and that's why I have such a huge concern with this Watchmen of Fate thing. Granted, we know it's in the game now. I'm just hoping it doesn't affect the core storyline here. I know I'm kind of rambling here, but that's my biggest concern. Is I don't want to see that core story be demolished, overtaken. But I guess that's what I got to say on it. Is I'm just concerned that it's gonna this new element could really screw things up within the storyline. Now, if the Watchmen of Fate turn out to be like the Ancients or something like that, and they're let's say the Watchmen of Fate turn out to be like the Ancients, and they're trying to discuss stuff with Eris, trying to get her to understand more things about herself and everything like that. Sure, I can be more with that. That doesn't really that enhances that character in some shape or fashion. But that isn't what it looks like from the trailer. So I'm saying that I can see this working, but at the same time I can see this not working. So I guess that's all. I'm going to link y'all the thing, the article in the description below, where I got it from. Like I've said many times before, I report Final Fantasy VII news that I can confirm. I don't report rumors. I don't do any of that stuff. Now, one last thing I guess I should mention. I still do intend on playing Final Fantasy VII the remaster. Not remaster, the remake. Sorry, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning here. Okay, I'm a little tired. I still am I intend on playing it regardless. I want to see this game through, but I have concerns. But yeah, anyway. So, like I said, I'm going to leave y'all the where I got this article from in the description below, and basically, if I can pull up anything else regarding Final Fantasy VII, I'll report on it if I can confirm it. Until then, I'm the Renegade Gamer. I thank you for visiting my channel. I hope you have a great day, and y'all take it easy, and I'll catch you later. Hang on a sec. Okay. Right. So, yeah. Take it easy. I'll catch y'all later.